Hey guys, Jess with Peekaboo Wreaths. So we are making our bee bow today. We have all these ribbon choices and we are ready to go. So we have this canvas bee, 2.5 inch, this 1.5 inch yellow and black, 2.5 purple and white. We have this 4-inch burlap. All this is wired, of course, a yellow and white stripe, some honeycombs, and some burlap beads. So this is what we're going to do to make our bow. So I use this, it's called a Bow, and it pretty much just it is like a hand to hold the bow as you're building it. So here we go. We're gonna start with this, our 4-inch. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna measure out, decide how long you want the tails to be. This one's about 12 inches. Gather it together, twist it, just like we did in our other bow video, which you guys can go check out, of course. We make sure that the unfinished side is up. We measure on our cutting mat, or you can use a ruler. Usually with the 4.5 inch, I make about 5 or 6 inch loops. Since this is at the bottom, twist it. The unfinished side is up, even though with burlap, it kind of looks the same both sides. That's one of the nice things about it. So we're gonna be nice and slow with our first ones. What I normally do is I'll do like 2 loops, and then the next one I'll do 1 loop and 2 loops, 1 loop all the way up. And that way we can kind of make sure that we see all the different levels. We want to spread those out like that. Get this one going down, twist, pull some ribbon out from the spool, gather it, twist it again so the unfinished side is up. And this is going to be a tail, we're actually going to leave it down. We're going to stretch it out so that the tails are about even. Cut it straight across, set that ribbon to the side so we're done with that. You can either dovetail your ribbons, their ribbon tails at the time that you're making the wreath, or you can do it when it's all finished. It's totally up to you, personal preference. I tend to do it while I'm going to, so I don't have to go back and do that. Throw those to the side. Then we're gonna pick one of our 2.5 inch ribbons. We're gonna go with this purple one because I can see based on the spool that I don't have as much. So we're gonna do that. Since I have the 2 here, I'm gonna go with a 1 loop on this side and 1 loop on the other. The tails, I make sure that it's a little bit shorter than the previous tail so that when your bow is on your wreath, you can see all the tails. Because if you're spending the money to put the ribbon in, you want to make sure that people can see it. You don't want to waste your money. Okay, we'll put this like this. It's usually about 1 finger length, which is usually about a 1/2 inch shorter on each loop. Twist it so that the unfinished side is up. Pick some. It's kind of funny, as a wreath maker, I am constantly, see, as you can see, there's only a little bit left on there, so we're gonna twist it. Anyways, as I was saying, as a wreath maker, I find that I am constantly adjusting these type of ribbons. I know they're wired. I know that they'll do inlay the way that you want them to, which is really nice. And that's something that you guys can keep in mind if you do order this wreath or any wreath from me, is that I always use wired ribbons. So when it does arrive to you, if it's a little bit squished from shipping, you can always adjust it. So that's what we have so far. So now we're gonna go with our next 2.5 inch, which is this yellow one. When I was picking our patterns, I always like to do the 2.5 inch ribbons together, and then do the 1.5 inch ones all together as well. So just like before, this one we're gonna do 2 loops on each side. Kind of gather it, flip it. We're gonna put one up and one down. You can always adjust your ribbons in your bow once it's fully formed. But I tend to try to do it as I'm going so that there's not as much work to do when it's completed. We want to see how that purple in between the two yellows. And then we have the two burlap loops that are on the bottom. Since they're 4 inches, you'll be able to see them underneath the yellow as well. As you see, this is a little bit shorter than the purple. Lots of people make bows different ways, but I figure once you find something that works, people tend to like it. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Like with lots of things in life, if you find a way that works for you, you don't have to try to be like everyone else. Just be yourself, and you'll find your people that love you for it. So here we go. We got one up, one down on each side, like that. So now we're going to go on to our 2.5 inches. So we're going to do this black and white, or black and yellow plaid. We're going to dovetail that edge. And you might have seen me pull the straight pin out of the ribbon. I don't know if you guys could even see that, but I use those to keep my ribbon rolls from unraveling. It's just a little tip. Okay, so as I said before, we're moving on to 1.5 inch width ribbons now. Pulling them out, getting one loop on each side. Kind of making them the same. Of course, you want to make them the same on each side, even as possible. Okay. I'm gonna pull it down, cut that tail a little bit shorter than the yellow and white striped one underneath it. We're gonna dovetail that edge, put that ribbon over to the side. As you can see, our bow is getting nice and full. Our ribbons are trying to escape as we're building our bow. There you go. All right. So now that we did one on the side, we're going to want to do 2 on our next level or layer of this bow. I'm going to stretch that out. This one looks like it ties in the burlap and the yellow together. It looks like a pretty little beehive. Little cells in there filled with honey. Do you guys go to farmers markets? We have a really nice farmers market here in our city, and it's every week once it warms up. It starts off with more like handmade items in the beginning. They'll do honey, they'll do like fresh salsa. Do you say salsa or salsa? I guess it depends where you're from, right? If you get that little bit of an accent, I guess, depending where you live regionally, right? But anyways, this reminds me, the farmer's market always has really good honey, nice fresh local honey, and the kids love it. We love it. It's healthy for you. It's healthy sugar. All right. All right. Our bow is getting nice and big. My ribbons are trying to escape, so I'm going to stop dovetailing them as I go along. I see that this one here looks a little bit long to me compared to the rest of the 4, just by eyeballing it. So what you can kind of do is you can look and see which other ribbon is attached to it, and you can try to pull and figure it out. There you go. It's okay if they're not exactly even, but you want them to be as even as possible. All right, our next one we're gonna do is this burlap one. It's so pretty. We're gonna do, I think, 1 on each side. What do we think? I don't actually think I'm gonna do that because I still have this one that I want to use, and it's just enough for 1 on each side. So we're actually going to save that, because if we do 1 loop of this on each side and then do 1 lap of this on each side, we're actually not going to be able to see that ribbon at all. So let's scrunch this up, turn it, put it down. I'm gonna do a little bit of an experiment to see how big of a tail we can have with this. So what's kind of cool is that the more bows you make, and wreaths in general, you learn how much ribbon or how far you can get with a roll of ribbon and be able to duplicate things. So most of my wreaths are one of a kind. They are not able to be duplicated, but I can make things that are close. So if you see something that you really like and I don't have it currently in my shop and you send me like a screenshot like, hey, I know this sold, but do you have another one? No, I don't have the exact same thing, but I can make something similar. So there we go. That's how that stack is gonna go. All right, so as you can see, we have the burlap purple, yellow, black and white plaid, the honeycomb, and then we have this canvas one on top. So it looks like this. It's really nice and thick. We're gonna take it, we're gonna take the same type of pipe cleaner that we used on our wreath, because you kind of want things to look the same. Even though you're not gonna see this pipe cleaner, I want it to look cohesive. Actually, what we're gonna do before we pull it off. So if we put our pipe cleaner now around the bottom, around this wreath stack, what you're gonna be able to see is this pipe cleaner. And I don't think that looks very professional. And I know that we have a little bit of this purple and white left, like just this much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little bump. That's what I call it. I don't think that's the professional name, but. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut this. Let's see how long, maybe, let's see, about 12 inches. I'm going to gather it right here on the edge like this. And I'm going to stick it down in the middle, like that. So what that's going to do is it's going to provide us with something to cover up the pipe cleaner. So we're going to gather the bow, you're going to push it down like this with your hand. You're going to have your pipe cleaner ready. And this part could go bad if you lose grip of that. So you're going to pull that pipe cleaner tight around the back. You're going to give it a couple good twists. Twist, 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 maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like this. We have one long part, which we're gonna tie around the wreath. And then we have our bow here. So it doesn't look like much right now because you gotta, pull all the tails down. We have to dovetail these canvas ends here real quick, like that. Make sure that when you're cutting, you're not getting your fingers, because that would be really bad. We don't want to do that. We don't want anybody getting hurt. This one has a dovetail already. This one does not. So let's finish that up. Make sure that you check out our other videos if you've been coming along with us on building this wreath. We have the video about putting the pipe cleaners on the form. We talk about choosing which ribbons we want to use. We talk about putting the mesh on the form. So what you're doing now is I open up all of the loops and kind of put them where I want them to go. So stretch them out like that. We got our 1.5. We want to make sure that we can see everything. So we're opening them up and pulling them out. This one we have a 1, like I told you. So here's the little bump that we talked about. It's covering up that pipe cleaner once we spread it out. And it just looks like another little loop. We're doing the other side. We're pulling out the honeycombs, open them up a little bit. Doing the plaid, doing the yellow and white stripe, this one. The burlap. Getting all the tails under control. At this point, if you see that some of your tails are too long or they're not even, you can trim them up. But what's kind of nice, it doesn't have to be perfect. And there you go. There's your bow, nice and beautiful. We're gonna add it onto our wreath. That will be our next video, and adding our florals, our little bees. Thanks so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you in the next video.